Hello, everyone. Welcome. We will begin. Welcome, everyone, to this session. I'm Vanessa Mamadou. I'm a Communications and Knowledge Exchange Specialist for SEBI Livestock, which is the Center for Supporting Evidence-Based Interventions in Livestock. We facilitate the Livestock Data for Decisions Network.
And I'm Johanna Wong, Monitoring and Learning Outreach Officer for SEBI Livestock. Today we're pleased to host a webinar where the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations will present their new Livestock Investment Coordination System.
So before we begin, we would like to invite you to introduce yourselves in the chat. Just type your name, your organization, any comments that you want to make to the rest of the participants.
And in today's session, the FAO staff will walk us through the different aspects of the LICS system, and there will be plenty of time for you to ask questions in either the Q&A, the little button at the bottom, and also for you to share suggestions. We've got a great mix of registered participants, about 30% from civil society, 23% from government, 21% from academia, and 17% from multilateral and intergovernmental organizations.
Welcome to everyone. Just a bit of technical guidance before we get started. So we are recording this meeting, and we will publish the recording to our YouTube channel afterwards. We'll share it with everyone who registered. You can use the chat anytime for general comments. If you have a question, please post it using the Q&A button. So you should find that in your Zoom application, there's a button that says Q&A. Press that and you can post your questions there, and we'll make sure to monitor these and address them throughout the meeting, including during the dedicated Q&A session. We'll also, at that point, allow you to turn your video and microphones on to ask questions, but we'll just keep you on mute for now until discussions begin. Without further ado, I will hand over to Bruno Minjauw from the FAO's Office of Emergencies, who will introduce the session and his fellow speakers.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to have this session today, and I would like first to thank LD4D to have organized that. And I'd like to introduce the team that is working on the Livestock Investment Coordination System. Then maybe we will start with the furthest from us, which is Mamadou, that is sitting in Senegal.
Thank you very much, Bruno. My name is Mamadou Mane. I'm an information manager working on this LICS project. Over to you.
Then we have the two men sitting in Rome. We cannot hear you.
You cannot hear me. Okay, can you hear me now? My name is Joachim Otte. As Bruno said, I'm sitting in Rome, actually in FAO headquarters while he is at home. And I have been working on a subcomponent of the LICS, namely the LIRA, the Livestock Investment Rapid Assessment Tool.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm ex-ante, based here in Rome, and in the headquarters of FAO, an emergency information management database specialist, and we are working on the LICS together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'm Bruno Minjauw. I'm a senior emergency rehabilitation officer based in Rome, but as a background, I'm a livestock officer, and this is why we started this project. Then let me share my screen and show you what we would like to share with you. All right, I hope you get it. So the project we would like to present today is a project funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that is just over a year now. It's called the Livestock Investment Coordination System and is a project between the NSA, which is the Animal Health and Production Department in FAO, and the Office of Emergency and Rehabilitation. So why we think that we should increase livestock investment, and when we talk about investment, is all activities that are support people owning livestock. Well, just to remind you that 40% of the agriculture GDP comes from livestock production in poor countries, that livestock play an important role in nutrition. And then we have this magic number of 600 million of the poor people are keeping livestock. In reality, you will see that in the literature, this 600 million is between 600 and 1 billion, is 70% of the world extremely poor people depend on livestock, which means that if we want to do something about the SDG, livestock is a very good window of opportunity. So what we are in the field, and this project is really to help people in the field to plan and design new investment. What is our challenge? The first one is to access basic data. If you land in a country, how many animals are we having there? What are the production system? What are the population? All this basic data is not always easy to put your hand on. Secondly, is if there are any shocks, do we have any early warning information that we get prepared and that we can have a very quick answer? Now, we are never alone in a country, and it is the base of coordination is to know who is doing what and where and to whom. Then we will talk about that, is to have a database where we can share and to be able to see who is working. More and more, the investor or financial supporter are asking us to say, well, if you want to do this, can you prove us that there will be a good return to investment? Then we need to be able to have an ex-ante impact assessment to prove that is a good idea. So we realize in FAO, but talking to our partner, that is a common issue, that it is very difficult to know who is doing where, even inside your own organization. To be able to answer a very simple question very rapidly, like how many animals did we vaccinate last year? How many livestock did we distribute? What type of livestock and where? But also more development type of activities, like how many policy advice did we do and to which type of government? Which technical support did we perform? But also, and the more and more important due to climate change, is the number of livestock feed that we provide or that we help to cultivate. So, as I say, the first step is to have the 5 Ws and to know who is doing what and where. Then on the livestock, we create a livestock activity information database where everybody will be able to enter what activity they are doing. And on the second part, part of the leaks is a livestock investment rapid assessment doing the ex-ante. We were very happy with that, but all partners and FAO were not too happy and said, well, livestock is all good, but very rarely a project is doing only livestock. And therefore, we need to have the possibility to enter agriculture, forestry, fisheries, and livelihood and cash activities also in that database. So to not create something completely new, we base our system on existing processes. For the database, we were very much influenced by the Global Food Security Cluster, where they have this system of spreadsheet where all the partners are sending on a monthly or 3-monthly basis their activities. Then we create something very similar that we can share also with those partners. For the LIRA part, we know that we need to have the basic data, and there we have all the literature review, but also the standard operation procedures with the legs, for example, the lesson learned that we want to be able to get from all the partners, and working in collaboration with the LD4D, having some data sources and studies that could help to evaluate our activities. In terms of early warning information, there are many on the shelves, and in FAO, you may be able to get to the hand-in-hand initiative, but also I'm sure you are aware of all the other big programs like the JUICE, Empress, ECTAT, or the GLEAM, where you have all those spatial analysis done. Very interesting, but very difficult to access when you are in the field. Taking all that, we want to have one tool that will, at a herd level, because what we want is for the people that are living out of livestock to be able to create an ex-ante analysis, and that's what we call the LIRA. So how does it look like? Well, it's very simple. We have, for each organization and at each country, one Excel spreadsheet that is on the SharePoint of that organization. Then in FAO, it is on our SharePoint. With Vétérinaires Sans Frontières, for example, it is on their SharePoint. Then for FAO, we have 110 countries that they have their own file on the SharePoint, which means that it is their database, but we have the capacity to go and to look at it and to analyze for them. We pre-fill the database with all the possible data to make the database extremely easy and fast to enter. In reality, you will see the only data that you need to type is what you have done, the number of intervention, but the unit is predefined, or the number of beneficiaries. So have a quick look. How does it look like? First, we have to choose if it is a single country or a regional project. If we say it's a single country, then you choose and you have all the country possible that you can pick is all drop menu. Like that, there's no typing error. If you type Afghanistan, then automatically the project symbol here in FAO, but for any other organization, we pre-fill the project symbol existing operation, the operation open during 1 year in Afghanistan. And the project title will come automatically. Because we want to be able to do some mapping, we want to have the activity per admin 1 and if possible per admin 2. Then once you have chosen a country, you have the drop menu for the admin 1, which are province, for example, and admin 2, which are district. Just again, no typing, just pick.
Bruno, 2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Okay. So now we have to know where, we need to know who is doing it. Then the executive partner will be, for example, FAO, but we want to be able to see who is doing the activity. And sometimes we have contracts with partners, international, and those are also coming at the drop menu. You choose the sector of production. For us is livestock, and automatically you have nearly 100 type of activities. Here I choose vaccination. If they are cash, we have the delivery methodology for cash. We need to know which species, then you have all the species, and automatically you have the disease related to that species that come. Then here we have vaccination on bovine, lumpy skin disease, and I have only to enter now the number of animals that I have entered, because the unit of measure is the number of heads. You have also the number of animals that were targeted, like that you can do your monitoring. In terms of who is benefiting, the number of people per household come automatically. You just need to enter the number of households that are benefiting. For all input activities, it's number of household. When it is training activities, it's number of individual, and you type the number of female and male that benefit from that training. So what we try to do is to position each country office as a generator of real-time collection of quality and comparable data with everybody. That will increase the visibility to all and be able to share that we know who is doing what and where. It's also increased the collaboration because we can see who is doing something that we need support for. It is a quick and standardized reporting facilities because you extract the data from a database and you have all the same type of reporting. We want to support the planning of new projects and having people getting together because they see who is doing the type of activities that they are interested into. And obviously, be able to show the evidence that what we are going to do will have a benefit. I will post, a little publication that you can read more, but let's have a look what the result is with Mamadou.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bruno. Let me share my screen and goes on to see what this look like in the dashboard. Okay, out of the database Bruno earlier showed here, this is the dashboard which has been created based on the database. So this is the page. We have this part here for the filters. We can filter per year, for example. We have all the years. You started 2019, 2022, up to 2023. 2023 is still ongoing. So data are not yet completed, but still there are data for 2022. For 2023, sorry. So let us say, for example, 2022, which is already finalized. So if we select 2022, if we select 2022, we will see that we have, for example, more development projects than emergency projects. So this tool is not looking only at emergency project, but also development project. But you can see also that the number of beneficiaries reached through emergency project is higher than the number of beneficiaries reached through development project. This could be explained by the fact that emergency projects are in a shorter time frame, and also they deliver much more quicker than development projects, which are often in a longer period. The delivery also follow the same trend, which is higher than the delivery for development projects. We can see that not only livestock, but also you have all the sector of production like agriculture, livestock, livelihood, forestry. Every sector of production is mentioned as available here, as Bruno mentioned earlier, because why restricting this tool only for livestock, whereby you can use it for other sector of production. So we have also those sector of production here listed. Okay, now since we are interested in livestock, let's pick only livestock here in the filter. By doing so, we have everything that fit only livestock activities. We can see that we have 110 countries or regions that have implemented livestock activities or projects, including livestock. 292 projects have been implemented, and altogether 37 million, nearly 38 million vaccine doses have been distributed, and 7.6 million animals have been treated. That could be antibiotic treatment or anti-parasite treatment. In 2022, 280,000 people have been trained, and 15 million benefited from input. These beneficiaries are reached through households and the number of individuals, depending on the number of individuals per household. Altogether, 15.3 million people have been reached in 2023. That represent the delivery, the amount of money spent for those projects is 370 million USD. So we can see also that the number of projects here, the number of per activity, the number of project per activity, like training section, which is also training are implemented in terms of development project, is coming higher. And the vaccination comes third with 49 to 50%, 39 to 50 projects. But in terms of beneficiaries, then we see that vaccination has higher number of beneficiaries compared to the training and the other activities. So in terms of number of individuals, beneficiaries reached per country, we can see that Pakistan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Somalia, these are the most important countries in 2020 and 2022. Okay. Then we can just go to the next page, which is the trends. Okay, here the trends, since we are in 2022, let's stay in 2022. And let's stick with the sector of production livestock. And let's see. Sorry, we are in trends. Okay, year should be 2022, and the sector of production is livestock. Sorry, no year to pick here. Just let us stick with livestock, and then we can see that in number of people trained per year, we have this 2019, 2020, 2021, we have this figure here, and you can see the difference between 2022 and 2023, which are higher. This could be explained by the fact that 2019, 2021, we filled the database based on the report in the FPMIS, the final report of the project. So this methodology of data entry is different from the 2022, because by 2022, we started implementing the data entry directly at country level, and this data entry is done by focal point who are working for the country office, almost in the real time. We are not yet at the real time, but the idea is to go to real time. So this explains the difference between these two different group of years. We can see the number of beneficiaries per year, and then 2023 is still ongoing, but still we have 8 million more than 2021 here ongoing. This is number of vaccine doses distributed per year and so on. And the number of countries, number of projects, these are kind of constant figures, which are, constant figures per year. Going to a vaccination page. It takes a little bit time to load the page. So here, this page is adjusted only for vaccination. We can see that the number of countries that have implemented vaccination activities is 23 in 2022. Livestock 52 projects have been implementing this kind of vaccination, and we see the national partners who are involved and the international and national partners who are involved in this vaccination process. 37 million vaccine doses distributed, 8.6 million beneficiaries from this vaccination. We can, let us go further, for example, by saying, okay, if you are talking about vaccination, okay, let's pick a disease, for example. One of the disease, for example, let us say, yes, this one, contagious bovine pneumonia, for example. Okay, the map is adjusting automatically. Since we have the number of, this percent, the number of project per country, how many vaccine doses based on this specific disease, then we have here the countries where we have this vaccination project, vaccination activities implemented in 2022. So here we have two countries, Ethiopia and Central African Republic. We can go further, for example, to see, okay, let's say Ethiopia. What has been done in Ethiopia? At country level, we have the map at country level, but we can also say drill down further to see at admin 1 level, if this information is provided. Bruno mentioned earlier, we have admin 1 and admin 2 level. So if those information are provided in which admin 1 or which admin 2, then we will be able to see on the map, okay, in which admin 1 and which admin 2, this information have been provided and where these activities have been implemented at admin 1 level. And if admin 2 also is provided, then it will be possible to have it at admin 2 level. So this is the possibilities. Okay.
That's 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay, I'm almost done. Okay, this is for vaccination. Now let's go to the monitoring side of things to see what is going on at the monitoring side of the things. So let's stay with Ethiopia. Let's stay with livestock. Okay, Ethiopia at country level, this is the overview of, these are the activities implemented here. Those which are fully colored and those which are partly colored here are the one which are not completed yet, depending on the number of beneficiaries reached, number of the target, depending the target against the implemented the achievements. So these are the activities. If null here, it means this activity is not implemented in the country. And the rest which are not available here in this part are just available in this table here in a table format. So, and we can see this is at country level, all the project combined and the activities implemented in all those projects are listed here. If you are interested in one single specific project to see what is going on in the frame of that project, we can just pick one, for example, this one. Yes, for example, this one. And we can see these are the activities that have been implemented in the frame of this project. This one, other activities is here, this here. But here we can see the number, this vaccination is still ongoing. Here we have 2 million, but it's not really 2 million. This have been around it, so it's less than 2 million. So it's ongoing, it's not yet completed, but these others are already completed. These activities are not yet implemented in the frame of this project. So we can have a monitoring at country level and also at project level. We can have it even at regional level. So no need to select a country here. You just pick a region here. We'll be able to see at this region where are the what have been done in this region so far. So I'm gonna stop it here and then hand it over to Bruno if you have any comment and so on. Over to you.
Thank you, Mamadou. I just wanted to remind the audience that if you have any questions or clarification that you're seeking about LICS and the Project Activity Information Database, please type your questions in the Q&A. Either the presenters will answer them as we go, or they'll select the question for a live response. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to Joachim Otte, who will introduce the Livestock Investment Rapid Assessment, or LIRA.
Okay, good. Well, let's say this tool is a companion to what was just presented. The previous one was about monitoring ongoing projects. This is one which is designed to support the formulation of new projects. Does it now not move? And the aim is, as the name says, to be a rapid tool. So a rapid assessment. So it is quick and dirty. To be rapid, we have to have minimal reliance on primary data collection, because that usually takes a lot of time. We want to be able to look at costs and benefits of interventions and not just what are losses. There are so many loss assessments, but what is really important is what can you do and what does it cost and what do you get back? And we want to be able to scan a range of outcomes. So one is financial, livelihoods, food security. So not just look at financial outcomes, but go a bit beyond those. We're quite happy with it to only deliver ballpark figures, orders of magnitude, and it is only intended to be like a first filter. And if one then has several potential investment opportunities, then one would go more in detail. So the setup or the vision is to have like 3 major components. One is to have supporting data at hand. As I said, not to have to go back and collect primary data, to have a standardized approach. And this is what we're using is a fairly standard approach. And the third one is open or easy access. So it would be via a ultimately a web-based application. Right now, we are only in the very initial phases of designing. So coming to the approach, there are basically 2 big scenarios. One is the crisis or disaster intervention, and the other one is more for development interventions. So the crisis or disaster, we have our baseline, which is the normal situation, no disaster, but then there may be drought warnings or epidemic disease warnings. We look at what do we expect to happen if we don't do anything. So that would be the unmitigated impact. We have our potential interventions, our investments. We look at what do we expect to happen with investment A, B, or C. That is the mitigated impact. And then, of course, the benefit is the difference between the two, and the cost is what the intervention costs. So for the development approach, we don't need the top row. Basically, our business as usual scenario is the baseline. And then we look at what are possible interventions. So let's say we have chronic disease, or we have nutrition deficiencies over certain periods of the year. So there again, our unmitigated impact, or our business as usual, is our baseline. We do our intervention, that is the mitigated impact, and the calculation is the same. And at the core is a bioeconomic herd model. So we have the baseline, we have the production parameters, which are production system specific. So in the baseline situation, what is a calving rate? What is the mortality rate? What are weight gains? And you have the opposing scenario where you have a shock, or you may remove a constraint. So how do these key production parameters change? And then, because it is a herd model, it calculates your output. And since you can put in prices, it also calculates the difference in revenue. So what will we need? We need our, let's say, baseline, or our a priori information. So those are region, species, and production system specific parameter values. We need some prices, and we need household information. So what is the normal herd size? What is the normal herd composition? Where do households, what are the sources of income, and so on? And what is the expected impact of the hazard we're looking at? And then for the intervention, we have needs, information needs. So what is the likelihood that a disaster occurs if we're looking at disasters? What are the investment options? What are the costs linked to those options? What is the effectiveness, the expected effectiveness of the intervention? And some of these might be even retrievable from, let's say, past projects that are in the database. And because this has a fairly large, let's say, uncertainty element, here we model it with probability distributions and using Monte Carlo simulation. And so I will now go through two test applications. One is a theoretical, let's say, menace or threat of a PPR outbreak on Somalia, Kenya, Ethiopia border. And the other one will be a calf or a young stock mortality. So as Bruno mentioned, we draw on existing data sources in FAO. So it is a production systems map. We have livestock distribution maps. And I don't know if you can see on those maps, there's a little circle. So we drew a 100-kilometer buffer zone around the border area, just to know, okay, here, this is mainly pastoral goats, and it's about 2.5 million. Going back to other baseline databases, so what are production parameter values for pastoral sheep and goats in that area? So you see that's the left-hand little box. The right-hand little box is what has been reported in the literature on PPR-specific impact on pastoral goats. And with those pieces of information, we can populate two herd models, one a baseline goat and the PPR affected goats. So you see on the left, it is baseline. In a normal year without PPR, if you start with 1,000 goats, at the end of the year, you have you expect 1,068. And if you look at just the revenue per goat, using the prices from the area, It is about $20 per goat at the start. And with the PPR outbreak, these numbers change significantly. You have high mortality. So instead of having 1,060 at the end, you only have 832. And your revenue per goat goes down to 12.6. So it is a 40% decline. So that is basically what the expected disease impact at herd level. Now, drawing on livelihoods information from, let's say this is Somalia now, where households have been divided into terciles, so the bottom tercile, the middle, and the high. You can then translate the herd loss into what does it mean in income per person per day. So you see it goes down from 1.97 to 1.3. And you can then also convert that into food security impact. So the kilocalories per person per day. And also you see that it's the bottom tercile that really goes from just above what they need to below what they need. So now comes our intervention. I said we need some estimate of what is the risk of a herd being affected. We take 50% with a range of 25 to 75. What are the intervention options? So of course, here is vaccination. Vaccination cost, we take 25 cents per head, range 15 to 35. Also from literature search, and the vaccine efficacy is 90%. Also that is information taken from the literature. So here again is how it is entered. We have the revenue difference of being about $8 per animal. We have also there a distribution, so it is 8 plus minus 20%. You see for the disease risk, in this case, we just took a uniform, and for cost per animal and vaccine efficacy, also uniform distributions. And basically this then is the result. I will just go through the benefit cost ratio. So this is running 1,000 or 10,000 simulations, is about 15.6, and the minimum is 4.1, the maximum is 35.3. So down there you see the distributions. They are not normal distributions, they have a long tail. And if you look at the right-hand side, you can see that about 20% of simulations give a benefit cost ratio of more than 20. So I think it is a fairly robust in that this investment is going to give positive returns. We may argue about how positive they are. And similarly, we can do that. What is the cost of protecting a household? So here the result again is not a normal distribution, but it is about $143, the cost of protecting a vulnerable pastoral household. And you can then compare that number to what equivalent food aid could you distribute for that amount of money. So this is emergency intervention. Looking at young stock, we know mortality of young stock is very high. So this is, again, looking at literature on young stock mortality in sub-Saharan Africa. The left is pastoral, and the different colors are different species. So it is cattle, camels, sheep, and goats. And on the right is mixed crop livestock. So they are slightly smaller or slightly lower, but it is still very high. And here we take data from a recent study published by GBADS, estimating disease burden of small ruminants in Ethiopia. And this is the values they used for mixed crop livestock, sheep. So you see parturition rate, prolificacy, etc. And they work with a lamb mortality of 20%. And then you have the prices of the different types of animals and products. So again, we put that into our herd model and change young stock mortality from a minimum of 0 to a maximum of 30. And you get, again, what is the revenue per animal in the flock? So at 20% lamb mortality, and if we say we don't consider any variable costs, it is about $26 per animal per year. And if you go to the left on the blue line, you see if you press it or decrease it to 0, you have $32.2. So there's a difference of $6 per animal per year, going from 20 to 0.
Joachim, 2 minutes.
Yes, I am almost there. So you can now put this into just a matrix. What are the benefits of moving from 30 to 25, from 20 to 15, and so on? And so here is the yellow one. They say they have 20. So you see the row, it's the 20 row. So, and a feasible reduction is to 10. So you can see, or you could say that about an investment to break even would be around $2.68. If it costs you more to reduce from 20 to 10, then probably you are not making a positive return. So coming to the caveats, we are totally aware that this is a ballpark figure, that it is very sensitive to prices, that it's sensitive to other parameters. If you have these interventions, you may have economies of scale, there may be fixed costs. But then again, if you, let's say, reduce young stock mortality by feed interventions, you may improve other parameters as well. And then, of course, it's always important, how much do these sheep actually mean to the farmer? What proportion of the farmer's income do they represent, to see whether he would be interested in doing anything? So what are we going to do, or what are we engaged in now? One is trying to generate baselines for these livestock production systems and regions. We're looking for information on livestock keeper households to get a better database on different household types. An important current task is to ensure interoperability with FAO's GLEAM, the Global Environmental Assessment Model, and other early warning systems, so that actually they can draw directly on information in there. And then to expand our pilot applications. I mean, 2 is, of course, much too little to test all the different, or not all, but many different potential uses or questions that will be asked. So thank you.
Thanks very much, Joachim. That's fantastic. So we've heard about the different tools and platforms. So now we'd like to make sure that anyone who has questions can have a chance to ask them. We're still using the Q&A area. So in your Zoom toolbar, you can click Q&A and post a question there. And then Bruno and the others may pick a few questions to respond live. While you think of your questions, we also have prepared a quick survey, and we want to give you a little bit of time to do that survey. So if Valentine, can you please post the link in the chat, and I'll just put this up on the screen. So what you can do is either scan the QR code with your phone or your device, or click the link in the chat. It's a very quick survey. We encourage you to do it now if you can, but we will leave it open for 24 hours. We're trying to get a sense of how these tools might be used, or what approaches you're currently using that could be improved by these tools. So please do support FAO with this feedback. So we'll see if there are questions. And I see that Bruno has been posting some links on Lyra and other resources, briefing notes and things that you can read. So that's also useful. So I'm wondering, maybe I can get us started. Bruno, you've been very busy responding to questions in the chat, in the Q&A. Do you want to address any of them that you feel are relevant to the wider group?
There were very few questions. I just wanted to, and I put some, I will answer in the Q&A. There was also some in the chat, then have a look. There was one issue about the double counting that I forgot to show, that we take care about double counting because we have a column that allow us to enter the number of intervention per household. Like that, the total number is divided by the number of intervention, and we don't have double counting. For the rest, the question were more, how can we access the database? Obviously, we cannot give the database to all the country, but what we are going to give you is the link of the dashboard. And then if there is a country where you are more interested, you can always contact us, and we will give you the link of the focal point for FAO. We will not do that for any other organization. Each organization is the only owner of their data. And when the time comes, we will see how we can share all organizations have one single dashboard where we will be able to see. The dashboard that you can see now is only FAO. It doesn't include any other organization, but we hope that in the near future, we will be able to have, just like the food security cluster, have all the different organizations in one single dashboard. And then like that, you can see who is working and doing what in a region. But that is still to come. I see Joanna that has the hand. Joanna.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, Bruno. So from what I understand, this system can be used by any organization. Within their organization, they input all their data and they're able to see the dashboards like Mamadou showed, but that data won't be shared with other organizations. That's just internal to them. And that's why you can't show or share dashboards specifically, because at the moment it's only the FAO data that you can publicly share. Is that right? Is that the correct understanding?
Absolutely, you got it correct. What we have is like if we give you a software, a free software, and we provide you the support to how to use it, but then your data is your data. It is in your SharePoint. We don't have access to it, apart if you want to give us access at the beginning to help you, but otherwise everybody has to have his own data and use. And then when we will have, like we are working now with Vétérinaires Sans Frontières, when we will have some organization using and running, then we may decide to say, here are all data to have one common dashboard for maybe one country or two countries, depending what we want. But it is very much at the moment a software that is used as a single organization, and it's up to the organization to share the data.
I'm noticing a couple of new questions in the Q&A. Bruno, if you feel like checking these and maybe responding live.
All right. Do you use standardized code for location? Yes, they are all the standard admin 1, admin 2. Then this is what you get from UNDP. Then that's why we standardize it for all. Regarding localities identity, they consider multiple commodity on a farm or in a community. Win Foster, could you please explain your question, because I don't understand.
Thank you. Yes, a very interesting system. The situation that I'm looking at is where you get multiple impacts from different commodities, if you like. So we have livestock, and we might have different rules applying to different types of livestock, but they also might not, they also might be growing crops of sorts, and there could be an interaction over there, and it could be a completely different industry association with which they are dealing. So I'm from South Africa, and we have different industry associations with different rules on how to identify a farm as an example. Overall, I'm considering interaction and linking and interoperability and exchange of data and everything that goes with that. So that was really where it comes down to what the standards are, if there is a standard, and whether or not it is the global location number from GS1.
Okay. On the location, those are the standard locations we get from UNDP. Mamadou might want to. Then is the list, official list of admin 1 and admin 2. The other one on your multiple commodity, maybe Joachim, do you want to answer that, or you want me to go ahead with it?
You go ahead. You go ahead.
If I understand what you mean is that a farm is not a farm because one farm might have some other commodities, and therefore the parameters that you're using are not the same. What we try is we have a series of sets of livestock production parameter for each species to each agroecological system. So yes, you are right. If you have one farm, even if they are in the same agroecological system and same production system, if one farm is on top of that growing a little bit of maize and feeding their animal, they might do better than the other. But we need to have a standard. There's no way you can have an individual parameter for each, and that's why it's an estimation, and it's never going to be precise at the farm level, apart if you give us for a specific farmer their exact parameter, and then we can do it. Over.
Okay, thank you. If I can extend that, I'm very often in a cooperative type situation. So if we look at traditional communities, and if you look at the benefit of not having intensive production, if we move into the whole climate and sustainability side, in one community with which I deal, under one chief, you've got 64 villages, you've got 4,300 landowners, and you move into productive, into managed production, if you like. So I don't expect you to answer now, but part of the challenge that we're looking at is saying, how do you identify the individual properties and tie that to a yield, whatever that happens to be? So it's combining those cycles across a broad area within one particular community. And there are all sorts of associations there. But thank you very much indeed. A very interesting system.
Thank you, Gwen. And yes, we might have a long chat on that because this is quite complex. But what we are not looking at different commodities at the same time. We look at the moment, we are looking at one herd. Then if you add different commodities, then you will have to have another model for the different commodities and then be able to add them all at the end. But that we are not doing. We're only looking at one single species herd for the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone for your questions. A really common question is how can we access the software? And Bruno's put in the chat, please email Bruno and he will be able to set you up.
So Bruno and Joachim and Mamadou, we have about, let's say, 5 minutes to, if you want to recap anything, any sort of next steps or follow-ups, or if you want to invite anyone to make any final comments.
We definitely want to invite anybody, if you have any comments. One of the elements that came, which is part of what we want to do, is to try to contact local technical working group, livestock working group, livestock technical working group at country level, and to have this presentation and to see if that will be useful there. Then yes, it is something. And if anybody can help us to do that, because you are working in one of those working group and you think it would be interesting, please contact us. We'll be very pleased to come. Otherwise, anybody, I don't see any hand. but please, anybody that would like to give us, any feedback, positive or negative, go ahead,
I think if I could come in here, Bruno just said, yes, I would be interested in going forward. Where I am is I would have access to traditional communities that have livestock. So I can certainly do the introduction and facilitation. Part of what I would be doing is working with them and yourselves in a support understand type capacity, with a view to developing implementation templates that can be used for education, that can be used to get the implementation going. And I do believe that the system that you have got is super. I do have a long history with FAO, and I've got a huge amount of respect for the organization. So although I said yes, that would not necessarily be me personally, but I'm very happy to pick up that discussion and can bring people into the mix who would be part of it.
Thank you very much. And I'm sure there's, because we are still collecting more and more production parameters for each different species even, and I'm sure that would be very useful. Joachim will be in touch with you to get, those parameters, because I think in southern part of Africa, there are some interesting production system that could be of use of that. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Well, I would like to thank then LD4D. It was, a very nice, and we got, something like 86 participants. Thanking also Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for supporting us. And please do not hesitate. You get our email. You will get, on the website of LD4D, the entire documentation that we've been doing today, and our contact. Then please do not hesitate to contact us for further development and work. We will also be happy to do the same presentation in French if you think that this is needed for the French part of the world. On my side, I have nothing more. Anybody from the team there that need to add anything? Mamadou, Joachim, Valentine?
I think we wanted to just say that the Menti poll is still open. Valentine's going to repost the link. So if you didn't do the quick poll earlier, we'll leave it open a little while longer. So Valentine, you can just post that as a reminder. And perhaps I can then wrap up and say thank you very much to the FAO team for their efforts and for collaborating with us. This has been, we are the Livestock Data for Decisions Network, LD4D. It's open for anyone to join. So if you work with livestock data and you want to connect with other people who are trying to support better decisions through improved data and evidence, we have many resources, tools, opportunities, and ways to simply, share challenges, discuss solutions and innovations, and so forth. So with that, I think we will draw the meeting to the close. So thanks again. And we will get back to you with the recording and everything related to the meeting. Great. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.